Adptr Audio has released Sculpt, which may be the most complete dynamics processor available right now. I'm not saying compressor because that only covers a part of what this plugin can do. The plugin has 4 modules who work independent of each other but also not. Each of these modules analyzes audio and does its own dynamic processing. The individual result of these 4 is then combined at the output, so it's a sort of the sum of the outcome of these 4 modules combined. If you bypass a module, it of course sends the unprocessed audio. Combine that with the excellent autogain function and you will get an understanding of how powerful this plugin is. The change to the audio will be visualized in 2 ways. Up here where you see differences in gain, and down here where you see more of the changes based on frequencies. Orange means gain increase and blue means gain reduction. The white line is the actual gain output. Adptr Audio markets Sculpt mostly as a bus or mastering dynamics tool, but in my opinion the plugin is not limited to that and you could and you should use Sculpt on any audio track. Let's go over the modules, which is a must to understand what Sculpt offers. I'll start with the second one, which offers downward compression and upward expansion, which you can toggle between with this switch. Downward compression is the most well-known compression type. If audio gets above the threshold setting you set, that audio gets compressed with the ratio you have set. You have access to your normal compressor settings. There are a few settings which are special. First is the gain range you set here. With this you set how much gain change there will be, which can result in way more transparent behavior and allows for more drastic threshold settings. The bound control does something similar but is more gradual in its behavior. And if you look here, you find Attack Release Adapt, which is very clever. This will adjust the attack and release time based on frequency. As you might know, low frequencies by themselves are slower than high frequencies. The mid-side process can set if you want to process more of the mid signal or more of the sides. Down here you find the big sidechain EQ. With this one you set how the module will analyze the audio. Increase for more sensitivity in that area, decrease for less sensitivity. You can sculpt your sidechain with a low shelf, peak band, high shelf or tilt. This sidechain will not affect the sound of your audio in any way. It's just setting how the plugin will react to that frequency content. An example is that when you have bass heavy audio, you can set with the sidechain EQ to ignore those frequencies more, to avoid pumping, or focus on that to actually get pumping effects. Of course, with this flexible sidechain, this applies to other frequencies as well, and that allows for something like de-essing. Simply increase the sensitivity for that range, and in this case I will work on the hi-hat. Toggle the setting here for upward expansion. With this, the audio which is above the threshold will be made even louder with the ratio setting you have set. Using this with the gain range limits will help to make, for instance, softer transients louder and keep the already loud ones in their place. Now, the first module has the same controls as the second module, but does the exact opposite. And that is, it does upward compression and downward expansion. These two work on audio which is below the threshold setting. Upward compression will make audio louder which is below the threshold. This is, for instance, ideal to increase the sustain part of an audio track. Listen to this kick. If I set change ratio and change attack and release settings, you will hear that the sustain gets louder. The downward expansion does the opposite, and on this kick it will shorten the sustain. So the difference between the first two modules is that the first module will work on audio which is below the threshold setting, and the second module works on audio which is above the threshold setting. Module number 3 is the tone control. This is a very interesting module. This one rebalances audio based on multi-band dynamics. You will use the EQ curve to sort of make an ideal curve you want, and this module will then boost or attenuate according to this curve. The tone detail dial does something interesting. It works on resonances only, and it can reduce or boost those resonances in a mix. So something like Soothe 2 can do, but with the inclusion of a boost on top of that. This module by itself could be a standalone plugin. The fourth module is the Transient module, a transient shaper. The Sculpt sets the amount of transient boosting or reducing. With Focus you can set which transients are processed, from lower and higher power transients to higher power only. Extend sets the length of the transients you will adjust. Soften will add a sort of slower attack, where the first part of a transient will not be boosted. This is handy to use when your audio has very sharp transients. Now Sculpt has an autogain function, which is one of the most advanced auto gains on a plugin you'll see right now. The plugin needs to analyze the audio, after which you will get a very reliable auto gain. After this analyzing, the plugin will make sure that even by turning knobs in the plugin, the auto gain will stay reliable. so A/Bing will give you a very honest before and after comparison. I did find something peculiar with bypassing the plugin. With VST3 on Windows, the plugin will not correctly reset the latency compensation, so your audio will be delayed. If you use the native bypass in the plugin itself, this won't happen. All this fancy processing and autogain comes with the compromise that the plugin needs to use a very long look-ahead buffer. This means that Sculpt is not usable for real-time monitoring. So Sculpt has 4 modules which sort of work independently of each other. These get summed together at the master of the plugin. Let me work on the master of the next track with all these 4 modules. The plugin by itself does not have a sound, it does not have a sonic imprint. It will affect the sound of your audio by the processing you do with the 4 modules, of course. Sculpt really is a huge leap forward in regards of dynamics processing. A real versatile tool to really shape the dynamics of your audio in any way you want. If you want to work on the attack and tonal part of your audio with EQ, you must check out the plugin which is displayed on screen and linked in the description.